If you are like the rest of the world and you have struggled to actually lose weight and keep it off, whether that's 100 pounds or 10 pounds, 1000%, this video is for you. We as a society have been taught and sold information that is there to ultimately generate profit, but it's not actually there to really get us what we're looking for, which is basic results and to help us improve our lives. So in this video, I'm gonna break down 7 points that I have found over working with hundreds of people, coaching people in the carnivore space, speaking with all of these various doctors and these experts as to actually how the average person out there can lose weight very simply and keep it off and not be starving the entire time. Actually be very happy, very comfortable, and life is moving along. So let's start out with number one. I think that you guys are gonna find this super interesting. Number one is protein. Get enough protein. So the average person in the United States is having about 20 to 30% of what they should be having on the day-to-day for protein. So they're short like 70, 80% in protein. Not good. My rule for this, if you are looking to lose weight, is, let's say, I'll just use myself as an example. Let's say I'm 150 pounds and I want to weigh 140 pounds. On the minimum average daily amount of protein that I'm gonna take in, I'm gonna have 140 grams of protein minimum to make sure that I'm hitting my protein goals. Now I can have over that, but I don't wanna have under that, because protein is what actually makes us feel full. It's also what our body needs to actually function. And we wanna get it majority from, for all of us, I guess it's here that's, animal-based or carnivore, we wanna get it from animals, okay? So get that amount of protein in your day-to-day. So as another example, let's say you're 300 pounds and you wanna weigh 180 pounds, you wanna have at minimum 180 grams of protein in your day. And then you can have more than that as well, but that's the first step. The second step, you guys, is to introduce animal fat and make sure you're getting enough animal fat. So without going into too much detail, we have been taught in society that animal fat is bad. And mostly that comes from the American Heart Association, that comes from the Sugar Association, that comes from faulty data, a lot of it. What we also have been told that calories are so important that we can't afford to have fat in our diet. We think that fat equals you get fat. It's not like that at all. It's actually the more fat you have, at like a healthy amount at least, the leaner you are. And so the reason it got this taboo thing was because in 1 gram of fat, there are about 9 calories. In 1 gram of protein, there are about 4 calories. So we've had this, law of thermogenetics where we think that 1 calorie in, 1 calorie out is the answer. It's not that way. So if you are scared about eating fat, eating animal fat, don't be. You want to get animal fat in your diet. So get tallow. That's a great way of doing this. Tallow is beef fat, and that's a great way to cook in all your foods. If you're cooking ground beef or you're cooking any meat for that matter, just cook it on medium. Don't cook it on the highest amount, because you're gonna burn away all the fat, and we wanna eat the fat. The fat is super good. So fat is not gonna make you fat. Fat will actually make you feel full. It's actually gonna make your hormones, like your ghrelin and your leptin, actually regulate, and it's gonna make your brain function. I think 75% of our brain is actually made up of fat. So we need a lot of fat in order to make sure that we're healthy. So going off of number one, get the minimum amount of protein in your diet, and then just get fat, have fatty meat. Make sure you're having, enough fat in your diet. And how do you know if you're not having enough? You're probably still full after eating that amount of protein. Add in more tile or get more fatty kinds of meat. That's a great way to go. Number 3 is huge. And this is something I think is under discussed in this space, but remove processed foods. You guys, literally, that's such a hack. It's like that right there. So there are 4 stages of processed foods. To get into it for this point, processed foods are designed and wired by scientists, food scientists, that are making this food to make us want to keep eating it, so that we continue to buy the product. That's not rocket science, right? So again, we live in a system, in a society where it's a capitalistic society, and most of the information that we're given is given to us by companies who are looking to generate profit. And the companies that make this processed food are trying to make money, right? So if you remove processed food, what's that gonna allow you to do? You're actually gonna feel full. You're actually gonna have a chance to not be addicted to food. So that's where 1 and 2 are super important. So for a lot of people, they think that means, oh, I can't have any sugar, or I can't have any of that. No, if you need to have sugar, have fruit, have a banana, have an apple. Even, just having anything that will kind of tide you over is so much better than any kind of processed food. if you can help it. Getting rid of processed food is huge. That's going to make it so that your body can actually feel full, and it actually will understand the food coming in, and you can feel when you are ready to eat, when you're done eating, because your body, it was evolved over years, it's going to know what to do. Number 4 is to remove seed oils. Okay, this is huge. Seed oils are huge. So this kind of goes back to number 2, we were talking about fat. In the 50s and the 60s, animal fat was made to be the enemy because at that time, our president, I believe it was President Eisenhower, he had a heart attack. And he had a heart attack. It became this huge interest in society. There was all this research being done about this, about how do we make sure that we don't have this happen to the rest of the world. And so long story short, there were a lot of organizations that were conducting research, a lot of things that were paid off. And we basically found at the time that animal fat was potentially problematic. That might have been causing higher cholesterol, which is causing plaque in our arteries, which is causing there to be strokes. So that's when the seed oil world came in and told us that we need to, start consuming vegetable oil and canola oil and seed, all these, Crisco, because it's better for us than animal fat. Well, it's not the case. There's such a high concentration of linoleic acid in our seed oils that it's actually breaking our cells like at the core. They're basically, the mitochondria is not able to function as well as it needs to, and that's basically the energy powerhouse of our cells. The problem with seed oils is that they hijack our satiety hormone. So very similar to processed foods where we can't feel full when we're eating processed foods. It's the same thing with seed oils. You're not functioning properly because we're eating such a high amount of linoleic acid and such big doses that we're not able to actually understand that in our bodies, and it keeps making us want to eat. It keeps making us want to go. Plus, on top of that, there's a lot of calories that come with these seed oils that we didn't typically have before. So a lot of people are eating like 500 to 600 calories more a day just by having seed oils. And I guarantee basically everywhere you go cooks with seed oils. So cooking at home is the best way to go about doing this. Just assume that anywhere you're going to go is going to have seed oils. Cooking at home is always the best. You want to cook with ghee, you want to cook with tallow, and you want to cook with raw butter. Those 3 things are the best. Olive oil is great to cook with, but the smoke point is quite low. So sometimes you just want to put that on top. Really, raw butter and ghee and avocado oil and sometimes coconut oil are really great ways to go for that and to replace seed oils. So get rid of seed oils. That's going to help you so much. Number 5 is about calorie restricting. So don't calorie restrict as much as you think you should, is what I'm getting at here. So there's an argument about whether calorie restricting is beneficial or not. Ultimately, yes, if we do reduce our calories in, we are going to lose weight. That's for sure. But sometimes, and this is something I used to do, is we restrict too much way too soon, and we're only focused on the number of calories, not the quality of the calories. What I'm trying to express is we do need to limit calories to a certain degree when we're trying to lose weight. So we don't want to binge on food, right? But realistically, what I've seen success with everybody I've worked with is you want to just get 1 and 2 down, which is getting right protein. You want to get the right amount of fat, and then you want to make sure you do the 3rd thing, which is getting rid of processed foods, and then you want to do the 4th thing, which is getting rid of seed oils. And then honestly, from there, you don't really need to worry about calorie restriction because your body is going to be functioning better. It's going to have its, hormones balanced, and you're going to be able to feel better. You're going to understand when you want to eat, when you don't want to eat. And even for you, if you're like hundreds of pounds of overweight or just 40 pounds or whatever, and that sounds like crazy and unattainable, it is so attainable, I'm telling you. So calorie restriction is not the end all be all. Do not focus on that as the way to go. Start with the first 4 first. Know that calorie restriction does matter, but it's not the primary focus of this. We've been told that by companies who have been trying to sell us things to generate a profit because we're lacking fundamental understanding and science behind it. Number 6, this is to stop overworking out. Oh my God, this is something that I used to do so much. And this is something that a lot of the people I've worked with, they do. They overrun, they overdo cardio, go to the gym 3 times a day because they're trying to lose so much weight. It doesn't work. It doesn't work because what you're gonna do is you're gonna raise your cortisol levels, and your cortisol levels are your stress hormones. So basically you're gonna stress your body out, and your body, when it's stressed, holds on to body fat because it basically thinks it's trying to survive, because there's maybe back in the day we were being chased by an animal, or maybe we were in the middle of a storm or whatever. We didn't have access to food, so therefore our cortisol levels were raising, or we were running away from being killed, so our cortisol levels were raising, and that told our body to hold on to fat. And so what we're going to do if we basically work ourselves too hard is you're going to increase your cortisol levels and your body's going to hang on to fat. But the other thing too is that you're just going to hate it. You're just going to hate it. And that's not what this needs to be. We have been taught and told so much by society that you got to burn calories, to make these things happen. You got to burn all these calories to make it, you got to run 1,000,000 miles to make it work. It's not true. It's not true. I have literally done all of these various things. I used to run 7 miles a day, and then it got to be 10 miles a day just to try to lose weight, right? And it never worked. So for you, if you are overworking out, chill out. 3 to 4 times a week at minimum is great. You want to strength train because that's going to be a huge part of allowing you to build more muscle, allowing you to build a greater metabolism, and allowing you to take in more calories. So the more muscle you have via strength training or weight training, the better you're going to be off, because you're going to be able to eat more calories and sustain those calories. And your body with the more muscle is going to actually have a higher metabolism, meaning it's going to burn more calories throughout the day rather than just when you're doing the workout. So whole point of that is have 3 to 4 times a week that you go to the gym. If you like going 6-7 days, that's great. But make sure you're not overworking out and overdoing cardio, because it's just going to stress your body out and you don't want that. Push yourself, work hard, and then let it be, and work on your food. That's the most important part. Number 7 is fasting. For you, if you are really trying to lose weight and you are brand spanking new to this carnivore, this animal-based lifestyle, I recommend not fasting. I would really recommend not doing that. That's something that's going to be up to you for what you want to do. I actually do intermittent fast, and I did actually do a 7-day fast here. And this was something that was kind of more of an experiment for me. If you are new to this lifestyle and you're trying to lose weight, or if you're not new, if you're trying to just understand how to figure this whole thing out, intermittent fasting is a potential solution. I do 8-16, meaning I do 8 hours eating and 16 hours not eating. Fasting can be really beneficial because it actually allows your body to recycle old, dead and dying cells. It can be a wonderful thing. It can be a really rejuvenating thing. A lot of people do it to actually increase longevity. A lot of people do it to lose weight, but I would say if you are into this lifestyle and you're just trying to figure out the last few pounds, sure, do intermittent fasting. But if you're, again, brand spanking new, don't even go there. Don't even worry about it. It's going to potentially cause you problems. I wouldn't even try it. Number 8, this is where we are going to focus on the end goal here. And the end goal is eating off of intuition. Now, here's the exception. If you are somebody you're trying to do incredible things, very extreme things, which most people out there are not, like I'm talking trying to go to the Olympics or trying to be in a bodybuilding competition or whatever you're trying to do, there are more macros that you need to pay attention to for that, right? But most people are just trying to lose weight if we're watching this, and we're trying to understand how to lean our bodies out. So specifically for you, what we want to understand is, how does our body's intuition actually work? How do we actually understand what our body needs and wants? And I hate even saying these words like what our body needs and wants, but genuinely, like, we did not grow up in the wild measuring fat and measuring protein and how much fiber and how much, like all this stuff. It's not realistic. We have an internal system that our body can understand, that can teach us when to stop eating. If you are looking to change your life, what you need to do is really focus on the steps before this last step here, and really focus on implementing those, and then you will be able to eat intuitively. I'm telling you, I had an eating disorder for years. I was a fat kid growing up, and then I was hyper anorexic. I was 100 pounds at 5'8". So like, imagine me right now being 50 pounds lighter. That's how thin I was at one point. I was super anorexic. Eating by intuition is possible if you do all of those 8 steps. Then your body will understand what to do, and then you're free. Then you're free. Then you don't have to worry about all this information that's given to us by companies looking to generate profit. So, I'm always keeping it real with you. I'm not trying to sell you anything here. I'm trying to give you the actual insight, the actual information that I know has worked for all of the people I've worked with, for all of the experts out there that I've spoken with, for myself, and basically as much information that genuinely just makes sense from a natural, like, universal law of nature level. And the more and more I do, research on this and I learn, I'm realizing that the more we go towards what was naturally given to us, and we go away from trying to manipulate and maneuver everything so much, the better off we're going to be to actually achieve our goals, which in this scenario is to lose weight. If you want to look the way you want to look, if you want to feel the way you want to feel, if you want to actually act the way you want to act, you want to play with your kids, you don't want to go to work and be the fat person anymore, you want to fit in the clothes that you want to fit in, you want to actually show up and hit your potential, this is 1000% how to get there. I am telling you, and I would not steer you in the wrong way because I know how important this is to everybody out there who's trying to achieve that goal. So I hope you guys got something out of this. Again, these are the 8 tips that I have helped hundreds of people to accomplish their goal weight. I recommend you get into this and don't worry about it too much. Don't worry about the specifics too much, but stick to the first 4 at the bare minimum and you will be doing great. All right, guys, I hope you like this. Like and subscribe if you did. Go ahead and share it with somebody if they need to see it so that everybody out there can get the advice and the insight that they need to break out of this system and break out of this matrix and actually reinvent their reality. If you guys did like it, I hope to see you on the next one and have a great rest of your day. See ya.